Hi. In 1968, director George Romero made this movie, Night of the Living Dead, which set the precedent for how zombies are depicted in popular culture going forward. And yeah, they've always been kind of modelled off this style. It was the first, I mean, there've been zombie movies before it, but nothing quite like this. And this is how zombies are kind of like, this is the go-to to how you depict zombies nowadays. I mean, it went from here into his other sequels, into other movies, including like Return of the Living Dead, into the show The Walking Dead, which started in 2011. But ever since this movie was created, George Romero did set the standard to how zombies are depicted in popular culture. This is a ranking of all the Dead movies, all 6 in that franchise, if you will, directed by George Romero. Let's go through them all and see where this one ends up, the original. Okay, so let's start with number 6. So coming in last is Survival of the Dead. I don't mind this movie, but it's not the best in the series by a long way, as you can tell of how I've ranked it. Romero passed away in 2017, and in 2010 he did this film. I believe it was 2010 anyway, and this is the last in the Dead saga, and basically tells a story about this group of military personnel who go rogue, and they end up on this island where the dead are kind of like used, and like a bit like in Land of the Dead, where they're kind of put to work and stuff, and things start getting chaotic and getting out of control and stuff, and it all comes to a head later on. Not seen the film for a long time, but I wasn't overly keen. Don't love it, don't like hate it, but still a Romero Dead movie. You know, it's got a bit going for it, but kind of fell into a lot of the trends that a majority of these zombie films had about 2010, which is unfortunate with that one, but it's all right. A better film now, I thought, because I thought it was a bit more experimental, and that's 2008's Diary of the Dead. So Romero decided to take the found footage route with films like Paranormal Activity doing so well at the box office. He thought, you know what, I'm doing some more Dead films, I suppose let's incorporate the whole found footage aspect. So it's a found footage Dead movie directed by George Romero. Tells the story of this group trying to avoid zombies, trying to get away. The zombies are coming. They're filming a documentary about the outbreak. Quite interesting concept. And they take refuge in this large house in the sort of closing sort of scenes of the film, where the zombies are obviously trying to get in. That's Diary of the Dead at number 5. Coming in at number 4. Now this is still sealed. I've seen the movie multiple times on DVD and television. I do need to break the seal, but at the moment it's very difficult to get off, so there will be some glare is what I'm trying to basically convey. So we have Land of the Dead coming in at number 4 in the ranking, from 2005. Fairly interesting movie, quite an ambitious concept from Romero. It basically tells the story of how the society's managed to live amongst the dead and use them for its advantages. But what you have here is a hierarchy of elitists living in gated communities, sectioned off, protected, while the rest of humanity has to live amongst the dead and deal with them. They also put the dead to work and use them, and they also use them for fighting and things like that to get their kicks. So let's put them in a fight with a human, you know, just for a laugh. Give a human a spear and see how he does against a zombie. So it tells that kind of tale. The zombies have become more intelligent. You know, they're gaining more skills and becoming more psychologically let's say advanced. Their minds sort of like managing to interpret things better, and they're not so much like dumbed down flesh-eating, you know, creatures of the night. Some of them are actually developing into quite sophisticated creatures where they can actually come up with plans and use weaponry. That's Land of the Dead at number 4. I chose for number 3 1968's Night of the Living Dead, which I've just gone over. Set the precedent to how zombies are depicted in popular culture, definitely. Brilliant film. Tells the story of Barbara. She escapes the cemetery at the beginning where zombies have attacked her and her brother. Her brother's been killed, so sorry about the spoiler, but it is right at the beginning of the film. She goes to a farmhouse, meets up with another guy, Ben, played by Duane Jones, is it? Or Duane Jones? How you pronounce that? He's very strong, Barbara in this movie is very flaky and really going through it. She's really scared, really on edge, really traumatized by the fact that these creatures of the night are coming to devour her, and Ben has to take charge and really keep things afloat. So you've got Barbara being all flaky, you know, she's really scared, and Ben's really having to take charge and look after things, and Barbara as well. More people come along, more people get added to the group. They're trying to fight off the zombies. You've got some great scenes in there where they try and get the fuel from the petrol tank, you know, where they're planning that. You've got great depiction of zombies, you know, all the zombies look cool and stuff. Not as good as like in later films, but you know, you got to give it some credit because it's the first one, and it's a fantastic movie as well. Doesn't overstay its welcome at 96 minutes, black and white, really good portrayal of zombie and a zombie outbreak. Absolute classic there, Night of the Living Dead. So just wanted to make this a fairly quick ranking, don't want to go on too much, but coming in at number 2 is a sequel to Night of the Living Dead, and that is most people's favourite, I'd say, from what I gather and have seen. That is Dawn of the Dead, the original. 1978. The zombie outbreak is still progressing. It's getting relatively worse. There's some great scenes at the beginning set in the apartment blocks. You know, some gruesome stuff. The special effects are all amped up. It's more gory, more bloodthirsty. A group use a chopper to get to a shopping mall that is abandoned. They take refuge there. They create an area in the back where they're sectioned off, and then they can go out in the shopping mall and get all kinds of goods that they need, food, etc. That aspect of the film is really fun. You get to see them having fun, you know, playing around the shopping mall and just having a good time, the 4 of them. But then, of course, the biker gang come along, which is also has Tom Savini in there, who directed the Night of the Living Dead remake in 1990. He's in the biker gang. They manage to get into the mall and they start wrecking things. They let the zombies in. All hell breaks loose. And it just goes from there, really. And, you know, it's not downbeat too much. So it's a very fun film, especially like the Romero extended cut, which is 2.5 hours, quite a long film. And then you've got this more streamlined 2-hour cut. He did have some good sort of commentary on consumerism as well, as you have these zombies, just like they're zombies now, but they're trying to somewhat go about in the business they did whilst they were alive. So it's like it's still part of them somewhere in their mind. Although being brain dead zombies, they still think, oh, shop, product, I need to get this, and they're just walking around the shopping mall aimlessly. But so that's something slightly there, like good commentary on consumerism. Worth a look into Dawn of the Dead. You know, if you want to read some information on it and stuff, really worth a look into. There's that aspect, and of course there's just great special effects from Tom Savini as well. Yeah, brilliant film, Dawn of the Dead. One of the best horror movies ever made, actually. I do have the box set that's behind me somewhere. You can probably see it there. That's the Blu-ray edition of the big box set from Second Sight, and then I have the 4K in this streamlined edition. Rather nice. So before I get to number 1, trying to mention a couple of things. There's also some great documentaries out there, and this is the Synapse edition of Document of the Dead. It's about the definitive document of the dead. I believe it's the making of Night of the Living Dead. You know, everything you need to know. I watched this on Shudder, and then I decided to purchase the Blu-ray. So that's a good one. And you also have Birth of the Living Dead, which is another great documentary. Yeah, just talking about the Dead series and about Romero. So 2 good documentaries that are worth having. Document of the Dead and Birth of the Living Dead. I think there might even be some more, but both worth a look. Coming in at number 1, my personal favourite. I believe it's 1985. Yeah, and that is Day of the Dead. Now, it's a lot shorter than Dawn of the Dead, and it's also quite an intelligent film. I wouldn't say it quite has the depth of social commentary that Dawn of the Dead has, like I was talking about the commentary on consumerism and things like that, but it's just a balls-to-the-wall, great zombie flick. You know, brilliant score as well. Like, the Dead Suite's a great track to listen to. The whole soundtrack's brilliant. You got some great characters in there. They're in a military base, a bunker, underground, which has a platform which takes them there, so they're kind of protected. But there's also an entrance in the tunnels where they have to fend off zombies. There's also scientists experimenting on the zombies, so they bring in zombies. The scientists want to experiment, and you have Bob, of course, who's showing signs of more advanced intelligence, which will lead on to like Land of the Dead, as I was talking about earlier. And of course, the military guys are quite opposed to it, especially the leader, Rose. And of course you have the other guy, Steele, who's like his henchman. They're obviously putting pressure on the scientists and the rest of the crew. There's a lot of dysfunction between the group. The zombies manage to get in, and everything just turns to shit, and the zombies are coming and they're ripping people apart in gruesome fashion. I mean, Dawn of the Dead's got great gore, and but the zombies had that blue tint to them. In this film, they really went all out with the makeup, and the zombies look like they kind of do now in stuff like The Walking Dead, you know, with like their jaws falling off and they're decrepit and they're deteriorating, decomposing, and they look really scary, the zombies in this. They went all out with the effects. Great effects again from Tom Savini. Everything looks great. There's an amazing scene where I won't say what character it is because it'll spoil the film, but where a character opens a door and he's like and then he falls back into a big crowd of zombies, and they just tear him apart from the stomach and limb from limb, and you see everything just come out, and they're just gorging on him, eating him alive whole, and it's just brilliant to watch because the special effects look so damn good. Day of the Dead, phenomenal film, one of the best horror movies ever made again, and it's my favourite in the Romero Dead series. So I'll go through the ranking again very quickly. Coming in at 6, Survival of the Dead. Coming in at 5, found footage entry, Diary of the Dead. Coming in at 4, 2005's Land of the Dead. Coming in at 3, the classic that started it all, Night of the Living Dead. Coming in at number 2, the absolutely phenomenal Dawn of the Dead. And of course, coming in at number 1, the gruesome and gory 1985's Day of the Dead. That's my ranking of the George A. Romero Dead Saga. Hope you enjoyed it. You know, what's your ranking? How would you rank these films if you've seen them? It'd be cool to know, so drop a comment if you want. Anyway, I'll see you on the next video, and yeah, have a great day. Bye.